No, I don't think so.
Nice crowd.
Your usual front row.
Good morning and welcome everybody to the TD Garden. Glad you could join us here this morning for a historic and proud moment in Celtics history. We welcome the two newest Celtics to our squad. We will have Brian present the jerseys first to the newest players, Kyrie Irving and Gordon Hayward, for pictures first. Then we'll have President of Basketball Operations, Danny Ainge, make a couple opening remarks. Then we'll open up for questions and answers after that.
Okay, good.
All right. Got it.
Oh, you got 2,000 over there? I forgot about that.
Pictures.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. We're very excited today to introduce you to Gordon. Some of you have talked to Gordon over the phone, but for all sorts of different circumstances, it was very challenging. He came out from San Diego cross country twice in order to, with the idea of meeting our media. That just didn't work out, logistical reasons. And we're glad to have him here with us. His family just landed late last night, so his two little girls are probably sleeping right now, hopefully. And they're not able to be with us, but we welcome them to Boston also. And Kyrie is filming a movie down in Atlanta, Uncle Drew. His strength coach, Robin Pound, calls it an hour-and-a-half commercial, but I'm anxious to see the reviews, get the real reviews. We welcome Kyrie's people here, too. Jeff Wexler, his agent here, and strength coach. Robin Pound.
My dad, my uncle as well.
Alex. Family. Who else? Am I missing it? Oh, stand up. Kyrie's dad, stand up.
Oh, man, come on. Wow.
Boston University legend. All
They
right.
retired his jersey at BU, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
All right, number 11. Just to say, on behalf of the Celtics, since 1946, we've been a championship-driven organization, and we believe we've added two players here who are championship quality players on the court and championship quality people off the court in the community. And the more I've gotten to know them recently, and the more I've watched them over their careers, but even recently getting to know the qualities of their intense desire to be the best they can be on and off the court makes me convinced that they're a great fit for Celtic pride and for our drive towards Banner 18. So I just want to personally welcome and thank Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving for joining the Celtics.
Members of the media, if you have questions, please, we will have microphones on both sides of the room. Please state your name and affiliation for us. Thank you very much.
Taylor Snow, Celtics.com. Welcome, guys. Kyrie, you've said that you want to be in a place where you can maximize your potential. Why do you feel that Boston could be that place for you?
Well, first and foremost, before we get into that question, before we dive into the importance of why we're all here, I just want to appreciate everyone up here on the stage and the opportunity that's in front of us to go after something that's bigger than ourselves. But before we get to that, I just wanted to say that sometimes we get lost into these two hoops in this basketball, that the most humane things that make us human, we lose track of sometimes. And I want to take a time out to, wish my energy and heartfelt to Jay Crowder and his mother, because that's a hard situation to go through, especially when it gets wrapped up in all this, as well as IT's sister, and as well as those affected in Charlottesville and those affected in Houston. That is all reality-based, and I live in that world. In this basketball, me perfecting my craft is very important to me, but outside of this game, I live a very much real life, and I appreciate all the people around me as well as all the human beings I end up meeting. And I just wanted to come out and say that my appreciation for the world goes deeper than I think a lot of people realize. And I take my respects for all those people as well as everyone affected by anything. We're all here with you, and my prayers are with you. So now that I said that, now that I could officially move on to answering that, being a part of, or getting the opportunity to be a part of such a illustrious organization such as the Boston Celtics, man, I grew up watching so many different films, and I asked Danny when we were at dinner if I could get a few of his VHS tapes from those championship runs that they had.
Stone tablets.
All those, and when you have the unique opportunity of having special people and being a part of an organization like this, and they do everything possible in order to put themselves out there to make such a great thing happen. You're just appreciative, and I'm grateful. And I can't wait to get on the floor and to maximize my potential. I just want to be around those incredible coaches and those incredible minds and incredible individuals. And I felt like in doing that, Boston came right at the exact time, and it was meant to be that way. So I trust in that, and I'm glad to be here.
And Gordon, do you feel similar? I mean, why do you feel like this is a place where you can continue to grow as well?
Similar to what Kyrie has just said. Just the people that are, here at this organization, the history that they have. Coach Stevens, I think that I've kind of scratched the surface of what I can become, and I think being here with the city and the fans. It's really exciting to be here. I think it's going to be a great year, and for sure I think that we can all improve and get better.
Kyrie, in the middle. Kyle Hightower of the Associated Press. In your thank you note to Cleveland on Instagram, you referenced Robin there as a 19-year-old kid and taking the next step now in your journey as a 25-year-old man. I'm curious what you think the next step in your evolution is, and why you think it took switching locations to continue it.
Well, when you get drafted into this great league, some of us come in at different ages, and as a 19-year-old kid, if you think about it, I'm starting my first year of college, or finishing my first year of college, my freshman year, and life hits. Man, you go to different hotels, you're in different places, in different cities, and you have to adjust to what's going on. And it took me a little while to do that. On the court was incredible, but then you start figuring out what is important to you off the floor and how it's conducive for your development on the floor. Then you start finding that importance, and then it all starts making sense. It took a few things for me to go through in Cleveland for me to understand that, of learning the hard way. But we're all human beings, and I think that we've all been through a few hard times to where it's changed the landscape of what you think and what you feel. So it was my time to do what was best for me in terms of my intentions, and that's going after something bigger than myself, and honestly being in an environment that's conducive for my potential. And I think that statement is just self-explanatory, because it's pretty direct in terms of what my intent is, and it's to be happy and be with a group of individuals that I can grow with. And that is not a knock on anything that has transpired in my 6 years, because it was an unbelievable experience, man. To think about what we accomplished in Cleveland, and then individually as well, it bypasses the amount of moments that I had with all the special people out there. So that me leaving there wasn't about basketball, it was more or less about creating that foundation of me in Cleveland, and then now taking this next step as a 25-year-old evolving man and being the best basketball player I can be.
Jeff Goodman with ESPN. Kyrie, everybody kind of wanted to know why you left Cleveland specifically. You say it's to kind of grow and be able to maximize your potential. What was the biggest issue in Cleveland that you felt like you weren't able to realize that potential?
I wouldn't call them issues. It is exactly what I just said, and that's where it will always be, because that was my intent. it was an unbelievable journey, an unbelievable ride. But I knew that I wasn't going to come up here to specifically point at individuals, specifically point at what issues here, whatever, because that's not important to me at all. And it'll be an unbelievable experience for something new, and to be in a place like this where everyone will gravitate not only to us as individuals, but us as a collective group and a team. And they've done it past years before us, and they will continue to do it past years after us. And I just want to be a part of that. So.
This question is for Kyrie and Gordon Hayward. This city, the fan base is loyal to a core, but at the same time, if you don't play well, if you don't do well, the fan base also lets you know. How do you guys plan to deal with both sides of times when it's fantastic and they're all over you, and times when it's not going so well and they're all over you?
You got G. Go that one.
It's the ownership's fault when it goes badly. They know that.
I mean, I think we've been in this league long enough to realize that it's like that a lot of places. I think what's special about here is it seems like they're pretty educated sports fans here, so they know a little bit more. And for us, at least for me individually, I've never tried to get too high on the highs, too lows on the lows, because it can change really quickly, either way. And I don't really try to not look at what outside people think. We look at who's in the locker room. We believe in ourselves, and you kind of keep it moving from there.
Raul Martinez with NBC Boston. Gordon, you accepted this deal knowing that you had Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder. With this process with Kyrie and the trade, what was kind of going through your mind, seeing that's now a completely different roster with IT gone and Kyrie there?
Yeah. IT did a tremendous job as far as helping recruit me here to the city of Boston. He talked about Boston as the city, the fans, the organization, the coaches, the people that are involved behind the scenes. And, he was somebody that I was definitely excited about playing with. He had an unbelievable player, unbelievable year last year. I'd be lying if I said that wasn't the truth. But like I just said, I've been in this business long enough to realize it is a business. Things happen, things can change, and I go from an opportunity playing with IT and the rest of the guys that were on to now playing with Kyrie Irving, who's an unbelievable, one of the best basketball players in the league, and another great opportunity for me. And same thing as far as the other players go as well. Jay Crowder, tremendous basketball player. Unfortunately, that I won't get a chance to play with him. But at the same time, we get Marcus Morris, Aaron Baines, Marcus Smart, Rozier, two young guys, Jason and Jalen. And so I'm
Big Al.
Big Al Horford for sure. He was there with me too, recruiting me. And so the opportunity is still there for me, and I'm going through it. It's something I'm just looking at it, just excited about coming here, moving to Boston, moving my family here, and thrilled to get the season going.
It's about to be crazy, G.
Kyrie, this question is for you. Josh Brigadier with Channel 5 here in Boston. Do you feel the additional challenge now of the burden of taking this team on your shoulders, knowing Isaiah Thomas is not here now, and you taking that on as the point guard? Fans obviously had an attachment to Isaiah. Mm-hmm. Wondering your thoughts on that.
Is there ever such thing as one person carrying the whole team? I don't think so. And when you have a collection of individuals that we're all having one mission and one goal, and collectively getting better every single day, there are a lot of moving parts. And you have to depend on those moving parts to do their job at the ultimate ability that only they'll know. And it's our job to bring the best out of one another every single day. And I think that's been echoed throughout this whole entire organization, as well as the players and the tradition that's here in Boston. There is no one player. There are some very, very special talents. But I think that the teams get remembered more than the players sometimes, even though you guys do have some Hall of Famers here. A few numbers retired in those rafters. So I think the appreciation goes a lot deeper because of that team atmosphere, and there is no such thing as putting the team on your shoulders. You'll see some unbelievable things from probably 1 through 15, and will be just as elated as if it was the first guy, the second guy, third guy. And that's the common knowledge that I have of this game that was given to me, and the love that I have for it, because of being on a special team like that and having special individuals and looking the man in the eye and telling them that you can depend on me. There's nothing like that. So.
Brian Robb, Boston Sports Journal. This question's for Danny. After the trade was originally announced last week, obviously it took a little longer to get it finalized. Were you guys surprised that the Cavs were looking for more compensation there, and that it took so long for everything to come together?
I won't comment on any of our communication over the last week. It's private.
Kyrie, Mike Petralius, CLNS Media. Obviously, Danny just said that he can't comment, but emotionally for you, what has the last week been like? The roller coaster, it's had to have been some sort of roller coaster as the two teams tried to work things out.
Well, throughout this time, I've been very patient in the approach. I knew what the intent was when I asked for the trade initially, and it just was left at that, just patiently waiting. So it was honestly the most human thing I could have done, which is ride the roller coaster wave of emotions. But the important thing was, at the time, was honestly coming off of the finals loss and kind of not wallowing in my sorrows, but trying to figure out the next step in order to achieving that goal. And in doing that, made it just a very courageous decision in order to take myself and my intent and want to be a part of something bigger than myself. And when Boston came a knocking, I was answering. So it was pretty awesome about the way it all transpired. Because throughout this time, I didn't say anything, not a word. And it was just assumptions and who said, and this camp and this source. And I don't want to dive into that, but I didn't say anything purposely, because that's not the real life I live in terms of what you want, what this guy wants, and this person saying this one, and what you can and can't do. I have a daughter and I have a family that I love dearly. And once I knew that the team was going to make a move, I was just patiently waiting. And that's been the approach the whole entire time. So.
Jeff Goodman with ESPN. Following up on that, Kyrie, what was the last 5 days like? Were you down in Atlanta filming? Did that take your mind off it a little bit? Was there a point when you thought the trade wasn't going to go through?
Just been patient, man. I had no other choice. I've just been patient in my approach in terms of waiting. Like I said, once I knew that this illustrious organization had a chance to get me, and talking to Danny and Coach Stevens as well as Wick and the rest of the ownership group, it made sense. And I was just waiting for it to finally happen. But I know that while I was on set and I got the call, I cursed probably twice. And then I ran out, and I took a moment outside on the side of the street of Atlanta, watching the cars pass by, and I took in that moment because it really meant something, and it was the start of something anew. And I knew that I was going to come in contact with some other great individuals, and we were going to go after something special.
Kyrie, to your left, about 4 rows back here on the end. A lot of teams to beat in the East, but it's pretty clear. My name's Tom Lydon, Boston 25 News, by the way. A lot of teams to beat in the East, but it's pretty clear the team to beat the last 3 years has been Cleveland. I'm sure you've put some thought, now that you're on the other side, about what the key is to beating a team like that has the track record it has of getting to the finals 3 years in a row.
From a strategic standpoint, I think that Coach Stevens can answer that better. And from the other standpoint of what reality is, we haven't met or sat down with everyone as a collective and gone over the important things and important steps that it takes in order to build something special. So until we get to that point, I think I will have a better answer for you. But as of now, I'm just happy to finally get my jersey on the stage, as well as with Gordon and as well as the rest of my teammates, and meeting them over the next few days. So.
Steve Belpet, Boston Herald. Brad, you had a 53-win team last year, and you put it together, and Danny took the Rubik's Cube and smashed it. What's this like for you now, trying to put this group together?
Well, I think that's one of the things that we talk about all the time, is that each team's its own entity, And, you know, even when we've had more guys back and more continuity the last couple of years, you still go into the season and you have to work on all the important things, all the things that add up to ultimately giving yourself just a chance to win. And, you know, I thought Kyrie's answer was really good. We haven't met yet. Obviously, you know, we're still in the off season where we're limited in what we can do. And when we have our first team meeting, when training camp begins, that's going to be important because we need to set the tone for, you know, building a foundation on both ends of the floor. You know, I think that we have to be, as you know, the most important thing to me over the last few years is we all know in Boston what we're shooting for. You know, that's a given, right? That's what you're playing under, both in this facility and at the practice facility. But ultimately, the path is, are you getting better? And so the good news about our opportunity is that we get a chance to go to work. We should be excited about our opportunities ahead. We've got a lot of good players in the room. And we're all going to have to find out what role we can play in order to help us get better. What am I doing? Yeah, I mean, that's what you do all. That's what you do all. It's what you do all off season. Is you're thinking about it nonstop. Usually, a lot of your stuff is you're finalizing in early August, and there's not that much significant change after that. But it's a great challenge. This is part of the challenge of coaching, and part of the most exciting thing about coaching is the opportunity to put a team together. And it can only happen, if your best players, right, are guys that really want to be a part of something special as a group and appreciate and value what everybody brings to the table. And you've already heard the answers up here. So we're starting off with a great foundation, and I think with these guys and Al and with some of our young players, I think it's going to be a fun growth process.
Kyrie, Tom Westerholm with Mass Live. From what you've seen as an opponent, what are you looking forward to about playing in Coach Stevens' system?
By the way, big fan of Mass Live, bro. Guess we got highlight tapes. No, I had one from the 2010 Spalding Hoop Hall Classic.
Happy to help.
Yeah. To be honest, I've only had the unique opportunity of playing against Coach Stevens over the last few years. So, I
coached you in a game where we gave up 197 points.
That goes back to just playing both ends of the floor, Coach. Now that I get to experience it firsthand, it's just of how intelligent I've heard that he is as a coach and as well as his coaching staff, and to understand how maniacal he is in terms of the finite details of maximizing what you can out of the players that you have on the floor. And looking at it and scheme-wise, it's a pretty equatable offense in terms of what everyone's skill set is out there on the floor. And I picked that out in about 2 minutes that we were out in the game by the way they were running their plays. There's always 2 or 3 steps, or let me give them credit, 4 steps ahead, because it's a constant wave in the game. In a change, it can go up and it can go down. And to understand those frequencies and to understand how you still exist and all that and get the maximum potential out of who you have on the floor, I mean, that's Coach Stevens, and that's just from an observer standpoint. So the appreciation I have for his knowledge of the game, I just can't wait to steal some stuff and honestly learn and grow with a guy like that, as well as the other coaches that he has that I can't wait to meet. So this is an exciting time to have an outstanding coach like that.
We have a couple more questions, folks, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have to wrap it up, please. Thank you.
Kyrie and Gordon, Mark D'Amico, Celtics.com. First and foremost, welcome to Boston. Secondly, I'm just curious what the relationship was between you two before today.
all-star opponents.
Huh? You want me to go? I think the first thing is that it's like destiny. We both have March 23rd birthdays, so it's bound to happen at some point in time. But what was that, 2012? 2013?
2013.
2013. I actually I went to Cleveland on a visit when I was a restricted free agent, and Kyrie came in and, you know, was saying how much fun it would be if I would be on the team, and you know, kind of recruited me to go there. And then LeBron came, and that kind of squashed that whole thing. But you know, it came full circle, and here we are now. But you know, USA basketball, we played together, and you know, I think we've always had a good relationship. You know, I haven't spent too much time with them. Looking forward to doing that and learning from them, but we've had a good relationship.
Yeah. Abby Chin, CSN. Along those lines, how do you two see yourselves in your games complementing each other? Gordon.
Oh, man, well, this is a bad dude to the left of me. He's a bad dude. I spent about 20 minutes watching his highlights probably about 2 weeks ago. Just seeing where in Utah where they were utilizing him, and where he likes his spots and his post-ups and his footwork. And also he's been working with a common guy between us, which is pretty awesome in LA. So working on the game and appreciating it, and allowing him to be who he is, and never worrying about whether he's stepping on my toes or I'm stepping on his toes, or stepping on Al's toes, or T-Row or Marcus, or all these guys. We're all in this together, and we understand that a lot of the responsibility of growing this team and making this team go will predominantly at times be on us, but at the same time we're empowering our teammates at the same time and elevating them, because this will get very real, and we'll be tested in a number of ways. Gee, I can't wait, man, because the fact that already everyone's trying to put all this pressure on our team that we just put together and we're just incorporating ourselves into is step one, and that starts in day one of training camp, and it will extend throughout, and our identity will be formed, and our existing culture they have in Boston will only grow from here. So.
Hey, Kyrie, Jonathan Hall from WHDH 7 News. You spoke really eloquently about the history of the city, about Danny's VHS tapes, and all the great banners up there in the rafters, but I doubt that's the reason you came. There's a report that Brad Stevens was a major reason. Would you say that the coach's system sort of pushed you toward Boston?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you got a smart individual that you can learn the game from and be taught at the same time while growing. I mean, who doesn't want to be a part of that? That's just something awesome, man, that I can share knowledge as well as gain knowledge at the same time from not only the players but the coaching staff. And that starts with our head coach. So.
Levin Reed, WBZ. This is for Gordon. Gordon, you obviously were with Coach Stevens in college. What has changed in that time period now that you're embarking on kind of a new relationship with the Celtics?
Yeah, so a lot has changed since we last were together. I don't know if I would have imagined 5:45 a.m. workouts at Brownsburg High School. We'd both be sitting here one day.
He couldn't even grow a beard last time I saw him.
That's right. I could not. Yeah.
Can you?
Yeah, that's right. But you know, I think both of us have grown. You know, it's both. For me, especially as a person and a basketball player, you know, in college, your college coach is somewhat more like a father figure. You're younger, you know, you lean on them a lot. And, you know, now I'm a father, and I have two little girls of my own, and definitely, just like Kyrie, grew up in Utah and had 7 great years there, and, you know, learned what it takes to be a man and how to provide and protect your family and look out for them. You're not just looking out for yourself anymore. And so for me, just a lot of growing up, I think, as a person, as well as a basketball player. And, I always say that Coach Stevens was the first person that, I always had a dream to play in the NBA, but he was the first person that I think made me realize I could maybe get there one day. And so to be back and reunited with him again, I'm just, beyond excited and can't wait to get to work.
Man, it's just a lot of tangles here.
It is. A lot of circles.
I coming to do next year after your miraculous shot at almost winning.
You did have to bring up the big.
How
many times is that going to happen?
Kyrie, Jeff Goodman again, ESPN. What's your relationship like with LeBron now, and have you spoken to him since this whole process began with asking for the trade?
No, I haven't spoken to him, and my intent, like I said, was for my best intentions and to look back at the amount of ground we covered in the last 3-year span, or even before that, because we had a prior relationship, and to really realize how special that was and how much growth happened in that amount of time. I'd be sitting up here and telling you guys a lie if I didn't tell you I learned so much from that guy. The perfection of the craft comes in a variety of forms, and you watch and you watch and you ask a lot of the great players, what does it take to be great? And I've had the unique opportunity to play with one of the greats, and it was awesome. At times it was all over, just like it is in any other team. And when you look back and you're eternally grateful for the moments that you've had and you've shared, you're able to put peace with that journey and start anew. And this was a very, very challenging decision at first, but after a while, when you understand and you have that confidence in yourself to understand the magnitude of what you actually can accomplish and potentially can do with other great people. And now that I'm sitting here, it just echoes in terms of me just being very appreciative of not only the Cleveland fans, all of Ohio, but as well as Bron in incorporating me into that special team that we had in Cleveland. Because, 3 finals in a row, all the shared memories, all the individuals with T-Top, Swish, I could go down the line with the guys that I played with in Cleveland, but they all know how I feel about them individually, as well as the amount of love that we have for one another. The brotherhood exists even without all of this, and it will continue. So that's exactly where it is, and I'm very appreciative of it.
Kyrie, Gordon, thank you very much, gentlemen. Thank you very much. Welcome again to the Celtics and to Boston. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes our press conference for today. Have a great Labor Day weekend. Thank you very much.